In 2019, I took an F3 year and it was one of the best years of my life. I was working less hours as a doctor, I was earning more, I wasn't doing any on-calls or night shifts or anything like that, and then I got to quit and travel the world. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to plan an F3 year. As always, my name is Kiran, I'm a junior doctor and a comedian, blah blah blah, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. In this video, I'm talking about using your F3 to save P, to travel as a doctor, to save money for a house. I'm not talking about anything like fellowships or clinical fellow posts. I have no interest or experience in these things. So if that's what you're after, look elsewhere. The first thing you need to do is to prepare early. A lot of people start preparing late and it means that they can't do what they want to do in the year. In my opinion, you should be starting around March, April time of your F2 year. What you should be doing is signing up to a locum agency, because it takes absolutely ages to sign up for one, usually about a month or so, because you've got to get so many documents together. Long-term posts are the best posts and they are released early and taken early, so you need to be ahead of the pack. By signing up super early, you can see what's available, you can let them know your preferences, and so they can tell you what jobs are going to be ready for you when you finish your F2 training. The other thing this means, if you go down the agency route, if a locum agency doesn't find the job that you want, you still have time to speak to your hospital and get a job with the internal bank. So it gives you loads of options so that you can plan for the year properly. Probably the most important thing is planning your priorities and your finances. So what is important for you during this year? Do you want to save money? Do you want to save for travel? Do you want to save for a house deposit? You need to work out exactly how much money you need for the thing you want to do. And then from that, you can work out exactly how much work you need to do to earn that money. So here's an example. I've written it down because I can't remember the numbers, but as a locum on £45 per hour, let's say you're working a 9 to 5 week with a 30-minute break. So you're working 7.5 hours a day. You're earning £337.50 a day. So that means per week, you're on £1,687.50, and that's £6,750 per month, which is a lot of money. Let's say that 30% of this is going on tax, loans, NI, that sort of thing, which means that you can save around £4,725 per month. So minus your expenses and your rent and that sort of thing, you can save between £3,500 and £4,000 per month. If you are taking extra shifts, you can earn even more than this. If you're at somewhere paying more, you can earn more than this. If you live at home, you can save on expenses. Loads of things you can do to make sure that you can earn more in a shorter period of time. But using this example, you can save around £4,000 per month. So now we know we can save £3,500 to £4,000 a month. Let's say you are planning on going traveling, but you just want enough money to travel, and you know that your travel holiday is going to cost a big £15,000. Let's say you're planning this wild £15,000 holiday, then you know you need to work for 4 months to earn that money to be able to go away. By doing it in this way, planning out exactly how much money you need for what you want to do, working out exactly the job that you need to get it, and when you can finish that job, it means you can make the most out of your year. If you're saving for a house deposit, it may be that you have to work more months and take less time off. There is opportunity to do all of these things in that short period of time. So how do you find work as a locum doctor? 2 ways. The first one is through the internal bank, and the second one is through a locum agency. So to find work through the internal bank, all you have to do is email the rota team at your hospital and say, I'm finishing my F2, I'm looking for some extra shifts, what do you have available? Sometimes they have long-term locum shifts available, like 9 to 5 every week. Sometimes they'll have loads of A&E shifts available or whatever, or they'll add you to a mailing list where they'll tell you when shifts are coming out. This is good because you're working in a place you know, with people you know, and it's a lot more comfortable. But the issue with this is you will be paid less in general for these shifts than through an agency. A locum agency is basically someone who says, tell us when you're available for work and we will find the work for you. they can get a higher rate and they can pick shifts from different hospitals. So what I would recommend is to sign up early, March, April time, to 2 or 3 agencies so you aren't just stuck with one, and that you can see what's available from everywhere. You can see what jobs they're giving, you can see what rates they're getting, so you've got a better picture if you're signed up with more than one. Once you're signed up early, you can send them an email with exactly what you're after so they can look out for that, so they can let you know if that becomes available. Because ideally what you want if you're hoping to have a chill life and earn a lot is to have a regular job, so a 9-to-5 job. People can just take shifts in A&E here and there, and they can be well-paid shifts, but having one day off like that is going to cost you. And it's also, in my opinion, harder work. I'll put an email template in the description for the kind of thing that you can ask them about. Here's an example. I've said, I'm looking for work in the Manchester area between August and December 2021. I would like to work 9 to 5 with no weekends or out of hours shifts. I'm happy to travel for 30 minutes and would accept jobs in medicine, urology, surgery, psychiatry, A&E, whatever. I'm ideally looking for £45 per hour, but would consider other prices. Once you've sent this email, the agency will do their best to keep an eye out for these jobs for you, and you may be able to secure a long-term locum job. So you may be able to secure a job not for 1 week, but for 2-3 months. Planning travel in your FY3 year. Once you've planned your finances and you've planned your time, the next thing you can do is to plan your traveling trip. The way that I did it is that we went to a travel agency. The reason I'd recommend going to a travel agency rather than booking it yourself is because they can do some sneaky things to get some amazing deals on flights. Here's an example of what they did for us. We had a list of places that we definitely wanted to visit, and they looked down the list and they said, well, you want to go to Vietnam, you also want to go to Australia. There's a flight that goes from Vietnam to Australia that stops in the Philippines as a layover. We can extend that layover for 2 weeks, and you can actually go to the Philippines and visit there for no added cost at all for these flights. So they do that sneaky stuff like that. We could stop in Fiji on the way from Australia to America for no cost at all. So definitely I'd recommend using a travel agency. We used STA Travel, who have now gone bust and who still owe me £3,000. Where's my money, STA Travel?
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
But in general, I think it's a pretty good thing to do. Saving for a house. A lot of people want to take an F3 year because they want to save for a house, which I think is a really good idea. Some considerations: it is difficult to get a mortgage as a locum doctor. So generally, you need 3 years of self-employment income to get a mortgage, because as a locum doctor, you don't have a contract. Even though you are getting money and you're getting P every month, you don't have a contract, so you can't get a mortgage that easily. What I would recommend is either, if you can afford it, get a house in FY2, which may not be possible for most people, but the other option is that in your next year after your F3, in your training year, you buy the house then, but you save for it in the FY3 year. I'm telling you from experience, it's much, much, much easier to get a mortgage for a house if you've got a contract like you do when you're in training. I know this is kind of boring stuff, but stuff you have to consider if you want to buy a house. A couple of the considerations for FY3 doctors. Doctors need a yearly appraisal. So if you've not worked all year and you've just worked a little bit, you may be able to get away with it if you're going back into training. But in general, everyone should have an appraisal. In your training years, this is your ARCP. As a locum doctor, you have to actually pay someone to do an appraisal for you. If you are working through an agency, sometimes they can arrange it at discounts or for free if you've worked enough hours. Another consideration is that you need your own insurance or indemnity if you're not in a training program. It's not very expensive. Mine for 4 months was about £50, but you have to have this if you're practicing as a doctor. And finally, it's an absolutely amazing year. You're gonna have the best time. Make sure you DM me some pictures from when you're away. As always, my name is Kiran. Make sure you subscribe so you can join the team. Take care, everyone, and stay safe.